2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's go.
Welcome to a very special edition of AZcrypto. My partner is back, MrFOMO. MrFOMO, we had an emergency BTC update yesterday, and BTC went under 21, and you had to sit down. You couldn't make the show because
I had to take a breather. I had to make up an excuse for why I couldn't film yesterday. No, you did a great job in that video yesterday. I think people should leave comments below on AZcrypto's video yesterday and what they liked about it. And if you'd like to see more solo videos and see,
we'll be going live ourselves. We got
leave us some comments though.
Yeah, I mean, hit that like, hit that subscribe. We don't mind doing Twitter Spaces in the future, going live on YouTube. We just need you guys to kind of help us out. And we talked about this. I'll keep saying it. The key word here is patience and being realistic. We talked about this before the show. Something like Cosmos is under $7. Most exchanges require you to put down $10, but you can start that low. You can buy 1.5 Cosmos. You can buy 1.5 dots, and you can just kind of follow it for a little bit and slowly build. If you want to do it that way, you don't have to. I know we did the 10K show, and that was kind of an imagination thing. Is if someone had a lot of money and they're like, I'm going to risk, but most people are not throwing in 10K today to the market. If you can afford $10, hey, if you like what we're saying about Avalanche right now is a little over $16. Put in $20 if you can afford it, and see and follow it. It's kind of like a placeholder that you can do for yourself before you put in your real money over the next and start DCA. And you don't have to invest a significant amount of money to come in. And I think a lot of YouTube shows don't talk about that. You can't assume. Not everyone has $5, $10, $15, $20,000 to just throw in. So I think starting slow right now is not a horrible idea. And when the world economy, the US economy starts showing signs of progress, we get closer to the BTC halving coming up in 2024, and you feel like you can safely invest more, do it. But right now is when you start building that, because again, you disappear for 2 years, you come back to the show and you start buying. Guess what? We're going to be selling. I'm going to be brutally honest with you. You're going to be buying while we get ready to unload. That's the reality.
I'm going to dump on your head 2 years from now.
And most people won't tell you that, but that's the honest truth.
You made a great point. A lot of the talking heads on TV are saying the word recession over and over again. And there's, we could be, we might be. If the talking heads on TV are talking about it, we definitely are. You look at the GDP, you look at employment, you look at inflation, gas prices, all of these things together, and when it comes down to it, the people on TV are basically lagging indicators. If you're waiting for the talking heads on your news channels or MSNBC or one of those places to tell you whether or not we're in a recession, then you're kind of behind.
But recessions don't last forever.
Right. No, the last one. That, but I'm saying that you make a great point there, that it's probably a better idea to be frugal in a volatile market like crypto. And when you think about this market and you think about tech stocks, even, this market is very young comparatively. And even when we hit hard times like this, tech stocks are getting hit hard too. So, I like that idea of putting in a little bit of the time at a time. I have a Bitcoin purchase set up for every Sunday, like where I don't even have to look at it. It just buys a little bit of BTC every Sunday morning for me. And I just have it set up because in my head, that's when BTC kind of hits its low point on average for the most part. Maybe you could set it up for a Friday or a Saturday too. But for me, being through a bull market and now through the bear, I set it up that way so that I could kind of take advantage of regular price dips. But
Yeah.
I love that idea, and that idea of that $10,000 show. I don't think anybody would ever do that. Especially if you could throw in $10,000, you would likely diversify.
Well,
that.
except for the two real fighter pilots that are watching the show, they were able to put in the 10K. So thank you for you guys, but everyone else is. But you can turn that 10K into $100. Turn that 10K into 10. You know what I mean? It's whatever you turn that 10K is up to you.
Well, don't make your coffee at home for a couple of weeks, and whatever you save there, stick that in the market.
And instead of paying for Netflix, watch us for anything. I mean, come on. So, well, the more you guys watch and the more of you, the subscribers, the more MrFOMO's wife will let him tape. So remember that and invest. So this is critical stuff. We should probably talk about Celsius very quickly, even though that wasn't on our plans. You guys remember what happened with Luna? Now, they pushed back basically what happens is Celsius leveraged a lot of Bitcoin. They keep pushing it back. For now, it looks like they could be safe because I think it's between 16 and 17 is where if they went to that number, they would lose all their BTC and they withheld withdrawals. I'm not very familiar with Celsius. I know they don't give great, the customer rewards are not great over there. So I never considered going over there, but not good for the crypto space at all.
Celsius used to have great returns, but then remember, I think it was maybe a month or so ago, they halted those great returns for new customers. And they said it was because regulation was coming and people were looking into them. But I have a feeling it's maybe a little bit more sinister than that, because what you're seeing happen with them is also what you saw happen with Luna. And, I heard they just lowered their liquidation price by dumping a bunch more money in. That's not what you want to hear from a company that you're invested in. It's definitely not what you want to hear from a company where you're keeping your assets and hoping to earn some sort of return on them. And so I don't hear any kind of good things coming out of Celsius right now. And also keep an eye on Tron, because Tron just depegged yesterday, or maybe even this morning. And
those stable coins that are based on math are very tricky.
They're claiming that they are not over leveraged. They're claiming that they're actually over collateralized, that they've got enough collateral to cover what they've got in their stable coin. But it seems a lot like dominoes falling to me right now.
Yeah.
So
once again,
stay far away.
Yeah. So expect some volatility, not only because of what's happening with Celsius tomorrow. There should be a Fed hike announced. So I'm going to assume BTC is probably going to go back under 22. Now, if you are a degenerate and you want to try and play a little bit of a dead bounce, could be an opportunity tomorrow. But again, I'm just going to tell you, very risky, very risky. So whatever you throw in, be comfortable holding that asset for a while, because you could get stuck.
There is an argument to be made that this fallout that we've seen already is like the price being baked in prior to, because everybody out there is saying bad news is coming. Bad news is coming. We've already gotten an inflation rate above what they were expecting. They thought it was going to start tapering off. Remember, we got down to like 8.3, and they're like, "Oh, it's not that bad," and now it turned right back around and went up again. So I think that the price is somewhat baked in. If you see them raise it more than 50 basis points, you see them raise it like 100 basis points, then I think that you'll see more a lot more strong downside volatility. But there is an argument to be made that the market kind of bakes that kind of information into the prices well before we ever are able to take advantage of it.
So just to rephrase, our strategy right now is to really dip into Bitcoin as much as you're comfortable. I did want to bring up one more alt that is on a heavy discount, eGold, which you've talked about. They did have a small bug in the system that they fixed. During a bear, people are going to react because of what happened with Luna. They went all the way down to 39, bounced back today to 45. You can buy one Eagle at $45. This thing's been well over 500 before. Obviously, that was in a bull market, but the market cap's now down to 1 billion. So you want to go back and watch our show on Eagle, you can, but I would definitely the star by that one because 45, I mean, it's not going to be 45 2-3 years from now unless something horribly goes wrong. That's an amazing entry point right there for sure. And remember, USDC on Voyager, great way. Don't have to worry about anything going up or down. Great way to make some passive income. And then you have money on the side if you decide to get a little more brave. But again, for those of you that are under, a lot of people are under. The worst thing you can do is, like I said yesterday, panic sell. Unless you're gonna go from one asset to another. Now it's one thing if you say, okay, well, I'm getting 7% APR on this, I'm getting 2 on this, and they're both down 80, and I feel good about both. But why not just pick up the 7 the next 12 months versus the 2? That makes sense. But once you sell, that loss is a real loss. And I think sometimes we see the negative numbers, but that negative can turn into a positive, but it can't if you take your money out back to the bank. I mean, if you need the money, you need the money. The reality, you need the money to pay the bills and live your life. But if you don't, man, selling at a gigantic loss, 60, 70, 80%. You talk to anyone with a math degree that's into statistics, it just doesn't make sense. Unless the asset is never going to recover, it just doesn't make sense.
Well, that's why we talk about, and I think it's USDC is a great point. But that's why we talk about, like you were talking about being frugal with your money, and we talked about not, making your coffee at the house for a couple of weeks and then investing whatever you save there, or investing $10 at a time. I think that is kind of the smart way to go about it. And I don't think that you should ever put in what you can't afford to lose. But
let's be honest, a lot of people did do that during the bull run. Let's keep it 100% real. A lot of people invested more than they can afford to lose. So now they have to be very, very creative, right? It'd be great to DCA. I would love if I was down, and I am 80% of something, just say, okay, let me change, let me DCA and turn that 80 into
as
40.
long as your creativity is what you're saying, like moving from like like Algorand into something like VGX, where you're getting 2% with Algorand, and then you're getting 7 with VGX, and then VGX also gives you a bump up on a couple other coins.
But
sure, as long as that's the creativity you're talking about.
Yeah.
But if you're getting creative by bouncing money around, or by leverage trading, or doing something like that, then I think that's a bit more gambler's logic.
Oh, definitely.
You're trying to win back what you've lost right away, and that most
versus trying to do it long haul. And there is a danger with selling off some of these coins and putting them in others. You're not diversifying, and so if you go down to BTC and 1 or 2 alts now, I mean, unless something crazy happens in the world, BTC will recover. But if like some people had all their money in Luna and they found out the hard way, you just can't go with one horse. You have more confidence in some versus the others. But as much as I love AVAX, I wouldn't put all my money into AVAX.
Yeah.
As much as I love Eagle, I wouldn't put all my money into Eagle. As much as I really like VGX now because of how low it's gotten, I wouldn't put everything into it.
But I mean, you talk about diversifying. Look at something like DOT that ran a little bit. I think that it was at its lows, like in the 660 range. Now it's around 730. Could have got about 10% out of DOT in the last 24 hours. And it's making you 12% on top of that.
Well, down to 10 now.
Oh, down to 10% now. They changed it. But still, you're making 10% on your DOT, and you could have gotten 10% just in that 24-hour period. So be aware right now, because there are a lot of bargain basement prices out there. DOT at 6 yesterday was a good purchase. Even at 7, it's still a good purchase. You talked
again, one last time, think about it this way. You put in $10, you own more than almost 1.5 dots. So
Right. And over a year ago, that would have $10 would have gotten you like 20% of a dot.
Yeah. So again, it's not what you buy, it's when you buy. And right now, in my opinion, not financial advice, as long as you're patient and you know you're going to be around 2 to 3 years from now, you should be okay. So we are going to have a big VGX show coming up. We're going to try to have a guest go through the VLP. It has not been implemented except for the referrals. If you guys want $50 free of Bitcoin, look for our codes on the bottom. Right now, you sign up, put $100 in USDC, no worries, no hassles. You get $50 worth of BTC. You're getting $50 worth of BTC when it's in the low 20s versus 50 when it's in 50, 60. Guys, you're not in. Take the free BTC right now. Just saying that's a no-brainer.
And you made the point of it's not when you buy, it's not what you buy, but when you buy. It's also not when it's not what you buy, it's when you sell it.
Mm-hmm.
It's when you buy and when you sell. Don't hang on to these things. Don't get married to them. If you can get a few percentage points, if you can make $5 in the bear, make $5 in the bear. That's better than losing. You know, if we have a major downturn tomorrow, that's better than losing 300. So,
well, and I think the other thing is to buy and just forget about, don't even think about selling until 2023, because honestly, that's
how far behind you are.
That's probably the next time you really can make a real profit.
Investment.
I mean, the reality, we're not going to blow smoke and say alt season is coming. Sadly, there are still some YouTube accounts that are telling people that BTC could hit 6K later this year. And it's just not, it's not realistic. They want their viewers. We're going to build our viewers the hard way and the honest way. So you guys, please help us out. For Mr. FOMO, this is AZcrypto. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. Have a great week, everybody.
See ya.